Hello, everyone, and welcome to Breathe Motivation. It is Monday, and you guys are hearing a new intro song. I hope you guys enjoy it. Wanted to spice it up a little bit, change it up a little bit. So this is episode 137. So yesterday we talked about attitude, right? Attitude is everything, and the way that we look at our attitudes is how life will be perceived for us. So if we have a negative outlook or a negative attitude, things will look negative. If we have a positive attitude and we have a positive outlook, a lot of things tend to go our way. So it's important for us to make sure that we are focused 100% on our attitude, because that will really make our life a lot better if we put it in the best perspective for us. So just know that that's important, and make sure that you focus on what attitude that you have, right? So that's always a great thing. So today we are going to talk about being nice, right? So, as we grew up, and I'm sure many of you guys have heard the same advice, and it's funny because, we always think the same thing. So if you have nothing nice to say, then don't say anything at all, right? So let me start off with the definition. The definition for today is nice. So it's pleasant, agreeable, satisfactory. So when it comes down to saying things that are nice, right? Or, you want to say great things, right? So when I look at things and I look at how we are, one, many of us are very, very, very harsh on ourselves, right? So first and foremost, you've got to start saying great things to yourself. Instead of focusing on not so nice things, right? You start to tell yourself, hey man, I suck. Hey, I'm not doing things the right way. Man, I could have done that way better than I did. Now it's great to reflect on that and, say things, but man, I hate myself. There's so many different things that people can say to themselves that really create such a negative feeling within yourself. And a lot of us don't really even pay attention to the things that we say to ourselves. And I think that's something that we've really got to pay attention to more, because if we don't, that's how we continue to get in these ruts. We continue to not be able to focus on the things that we want to, or the things that we think will help us, right? So you've got to be able to be nice to yourself, right? And if you can't be nice to yourself, how do you expect others to be nice to you as well? Right? And then we start taking things a little bit more personal, and we can't even really relate to who we are. And if people are saying bad things about us, well, hey, I'm saying bad things about myself, so it must be true, right? It must be true. If I feel these same ways and other people are saying it, man, it must be true that I suck, or it must be true that I'm not good at this, right? So you've got to be able to decide what is good for you. What are some nice things that you can say to yourself? So I know when I was younger, I would struggle, and, I would really, I would talk so bad to myself. I would say, man, I suck. I can't get anything right, man. Well, all these other things. And I'm sure you guys have all said really bad things to yourself, or, hey, I'm an a-hole, or, you can't do anything right, right? That was the biggest thing I always said, to myself was, man, you can't do anything right. You just get so focused on, doing all these things, but man, it never turns out right, right? Or, hey, man, you're always negative. I'm always negative. Why am I so negative all the time? But that's the ideas, and what you say to yourself is what creates who you are, right? So you have this belief system within yourself that you are all of these negative things that you're talking to yourself about. You've got to be aware, right? Awareness, self-awareness is one of the greatest gifts that we can have. And it took me a long time to be able to really understand who I am, understand my thoughts, understand what I need as a human to be able to be better for myself, and being aware of what I do, right? So we've got to be so, in it to really understand what we need to do to be better. And I think that's the biggest thing that we really run into, is that, we are always trying to get better, and we always want to be better, but sometimes we hold ourselves back just by the little things that we say to ourselves. Now, it might not seem like it's a big deal, but if you continue to say these negative and bad things to yourself every day, it can get pretty tough, right? So what's the last thing that you said that was positive to yourself? Do you know? Are you focused on positives within yourself? The affirmations we talk about, the things that I talk about to myself, hey, I'm a masterpiece. When I wake up in the morning, I say, I'm a masterpiece. No matter what anybody thinks of me, I know that I am right for me, right? So I tell myself this daily. So I can always recognize that I can be better and I am positive and I am focused on great things, right? I'm full of energy. I'm full of excitement. I'm full of great goals. I'm full of success, right? So I start to tell myself this. And eventually, as you start to tell yourself great things about yourself and positive things about yourself, you start to believe them. You start to find a confidence within yourself to be able to go out and conquer the world if that's what you want to do, right? And that's what we all are wanting to do, is to get better, right? Our goal is that, my goal for Breathe Motivation is to help you find purpose and passion in everything you do, right? That's what we've got to be able to do. That's what we want to accomplish. That's what we're going after in life, right? Is to be able to find out who we are. We're on a journey to discover ourselves, discover what we love, discover what we can, how we can become better. And we've got to be able to be nice to ourselves, right? And you've got to be able to be nice to other people, right? So I know that we can get tough, and a lot of the things that we say to others, can really upset others. And we don't even think about it, right? So if somebody says something terrible to us, a lot of the times we want to go back at them with something like 10 times worse, right? So we've got to be aware of, if somebody says something bad, I always look at it this way. If I'm saying something, bad about somebody, a lot of the times it's a projection of what I'm feeling myself about, somebody else, right? Or I feel like I'm guilty of doing these things. So, if somebody is, being a jerk, I'm like, man, and I'm like, hey, you're being a jerk. Like, you're a jerk, right? Or you're just so rude. And then I start to like really look at myself and say, hey, is it me or is it somebody else, right? So we've got to be able to take ownership of the words that we say, right? Whatever we say to others and what we say to ourselves, we've got to be able to take ownership of it and be okay with what we have to say. So there's a few steps that I take to make sure that I am making sure that I am saying the right things or I'm doing the right things. So first and foremost, one, I don't really, speak directly of the first things that come to my mind, right? If people are telling me, hey, if somebody says something rude to me, I don't like to speak right away, right? I have to think about it. I assess what I'm going to say because I don't want to create an escalation. I don't want to create a big argument, right? Because it gets us nowhere. People, there are people that really just get satisfaction of pissing people off. And it really, it makes me upset. But at the end of the day, if I let that get to me, then I end up losing. And we all end up losing. If we want to create big fights and we want to create these things, nobody gains anything out of a big fight, right? So be aware of what you are going to say. So if somebody comes at you with something crazy or they say something that is so rude and whatever, be careful of the words that you spit back because those can work, those can hurt just as bad. And a lot of times we're, building up ammo to really just spew out this ugly, right? Spew out this ugliness towards people. So be aware of what you're doing, right? Next, just listen more, right? Our goal, when I think about it, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So we should do a whole lot more listening than we are talking, right? So we've got to be able to listen to what people have to say and really understand and really take time to process what people are saying. And really before we go back and try to, give advice or we try to, a lot of us try to give unsolicited advice. A lot of people don't even want us to give them, this advice. They want us to be able to be supportive of their thoughts or be supportive of what they're feeling. So a lot of times you've got to be able to listen and process that because a lot of us are really quick to say, hey, well, you should be doing this, this, and this. And then you see people get upset and you're like, well, why they get upset? I'm just trying to help them out, right? But sometimes it's just a matter of really, comforting people and really just saying, hey, I completely understand. I understand where you're coming from. What can I do to help you? Is there anything I can do to help you? I can definitely see the frustration that you're going through. I want to be able to help you if I can. And then, or, hey, would you like some advice on that? And a lot of people are going to either tell you, yeah, what would you do in this scenario? Or, no, I just want you to listen. I just need you to listen to me, right? So we've got to be able to do that. So those are two things that I really focus on myself to make sure that I am focused on others, right? Being able to create great conversations with people, because, a lot of the times the things that we say, it's not about what we say, it's about how we say it. We've got to be able to be, really good about what we're saying to others and how we say it, because that's what creates the great relationships or great communication. We've got to be aware of the things that we're saying, be aware of the things that we're doing, and, just be aware of how overall the nice things or the negative things or the bad things that we do say to people. And if we do say, bad things to people, we don't want to continue that same path, right? Just getting angry and making these outbursts, right? If you have people in your life that are just, and I'm sure that we all have had people like that just have these outbursts, and they really just bring people down, right? We just got to be able to listen to ourselves, listen to those things, and, really not take those things personal. So, if somebody says something terrible to you, you've got to be able to really figure out how to be better about it, right? And instead of creating these arguments, look for ways to, kind of defer these arguments and not even have them. Just be smart about what you do, and understand the things that you say to others or things you say to yourself. You've got to be aware of those. So be self-aware of things that you say to yourself. So if you're saying terrible things to yourself, start saying great things or nice things to yourself, and you'll see your life and your perspective of life and your thoughts become better. And those will help you lead to the success that you want and the positivity and the growth and whatever you want out of it. But if you continue to this path of this negative talking, right, as we talk to ourselves, think about, would you ever say these same things to yourself? Or, the things you're saying to yourself, would you say this to your parents? Would you say this to your family? Would you say this to your friends? Would you say this to strangers, right? A lot of the things that we say negatively to ourselves, we would never say to anybody else. So why do you treat yourself any different? We've got to be able to treat ourselves kindly. We've got to be able to treat ourselves with love. We've got to be able to treat ourselves with positivity. And when you do that, life just gets so much better because you have a different perspective. You have a different awareness of who you are. So go out and do that and be better together for yourself, for others, and, just create greatness around you. So let me leave you with this quote: kind words can be short and easy to speak, but their echoes are truly endless. So that was Mother Teresa. So overall, be kind to yourself. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all, right? That's a lesson that we've all learned at a young age. So continue to be the best you can be. Say great things to yourself. Say positive things to yourself, and you will find success and positivity around you. So check out our website, breathemotivation.com. We got great stuff on there, a podcast. I've got some books on there that you guys can buy on, I think it's a direct link to Amazon. I am an affiliate there, so if you do buy those books, I do get a little bit of a credit, but that's not the main purpose. I want to be able to share those books with you guys because those have made me who I am. So as always, remember to breathe motivation and exhale success. I will see you guys tomorrow on Tuesday. Thanks.